Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of The Doorman. We are your doorman. My name is Evangelist
Steven in the building.
This is the podcast where we encourage your thoughts to run rampant. We want you to have as many of them things as you possibly can in the face of whatever the fuck is going on in this world, right? Because once you become that person who accepts whatever is thrown at you, you begin to lose. You begin to lose, right?
Yeah.
So what we do, what we explore here is the idea that you have your own ideas, right? We'll have ours. We're not saying that everything that we say and do is necessarily correct, but it's a better option than the alternative of just being lied to and taking and falling for the okie doke. So that's what we're here to do. So let's start this episode. Let's start this show off. We kind of have this practice here where we kind of introduce what's going on in the world. Most of the time we're talking shit about this administration, this country's administration, but we'll give them a break today. Maybe.
Yeah.
We might give them a break.
I might rarely take the boot off.
I might give them a break, but Steven here will always remind you of the stupidity going on.
Yes.
But I just want to kind of bring you some local news, right? So a buddy of mine, shout out Josh, he's been sending me these news clips about, by the way, he lives probably about a half mile, 3/4 mile away, right down the street. And he sent me a news clip about what's going on in his neighborhood. So Silverado Park here in Long Beach, on the west side of Long Beach, they have been, the residents of Silverado, near Silverado Park, have been protesting this planned shelter that the city was just going to throw on them, right? It's a shelter for the homeless, supposedly a shelter for the homeless. By the way, if you've never been on this side of town, in the west side of Long Beach, we have a homeless problem. We have a flood control here. It's a river that runs through...
Riverbed, yep.
The riverbed that runs through the west of Long Beach. Actually, it runs dividing the west side of Long Beach from not Bixby, but the Wrigley. Anyway, we have homeless living in that riverbed all year long. There's homeless encampments there, and I mean they're just everywhere. I mean they're not necessarily a problem all the time, but they're visible. They're here. And then some of the issues that they bring is of course it's a heavy drug using community, and so you'll see them around here high. A huge part of that community has special needs. A lot of schizophrenia going on. So you'll see them, acting out. Theft is huge because of the drug use. But there's a lot of situations that they.
Just the essence of
a lot of issues.
You don't want something around
your
house. Right?
There's a lot of issues that they bring to a residential area that we as residents don't want, right? So. You move about 3/4 of a mile in one direction, and there's Silverado Park, and the city proposed a homeless shelter there for the winter, right? But there's a problem with those issues that the homeless community brings to any area. You have children there. You have families. You have parents raising their children who there in that area. It's a park first and foremost, so you have who are the biggest occupiers of parks or utilizers of parks? Children. So the parents had a real problem. They were proposing to move this homeless community into a gym that's used by the community, by the children of the community. Problem. So a brave residential leader, I guess I would call her. Let's see, her name, her name is Jerlene Tatum. Jerlene Tatum led 100+ residents to protest this, and kudos to them. because they were able to stop this project. Not stop it permanently, but stop it for now. Halt the progress on the.
Well, you got to ask yourself a couple questions in this situation, right? Like, why would they do it in darkness, essentially, without people's approval? Because they know it wouldn't get approved.
Exactly.
And second of all, why a park and a gym, right?
Right.
Because they're already there, they're open, and they would assume that people wouldn't have a problem because now it's acceptable to let your feelings and let your emotions take control of make decisions, right? So, I was driving here today, and I passed a store that happened to have two entrances, right? One was the front entrance, one was kind of like a side entrance. And the side entrance had, I don't know how many homeless people, but it had enough where there was a rope from one side of the building to the other and tarps covering the door. And the inside of the store, you could still see out those windows. You can only imagine what they see, right. Through the store.
Right.
And my question is, when did it become acceptable to just let that happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I mean, I question that every time I see it today, right? And I know, what authorities will do, what other commentators will do is they will try to, in Brother Stephen's words, they will try to pluck at your heartstrings to sympathize and empathize with this community, right? Oh, what if this were you? What if you ran into that? And I'm not saying anything about everyone's situation on the streets. I don't know everyone's situations on the street. I do know a few. I have family members and distant family members who cognitively have chosen that lifestyle. And one of the reasonings I'd heard was I don't want to be told what to do and how to do it. So it was a decision made by someone I know to live that life. And if I'm going to assume that it's been a decision for all of them, I'd be in the wrong. But for the one I know, for the ones that I know who are out there, it's a decision, right? But do people fall on hard times? Absolutely. Is this something that should pluck on people's heartstrings because you want to feel for the people out there? Sure, absolutely. Is this something that we should, we as residents, tax-paying citizens, should be railroaded by local and federal government to take care of? Absolutely not. Right? So what Jerlene Tatum brought up was the idea that they weren't notified. The residents in and around that park were not notified about this move that was going to be made. They'd seen the defense coming up, and they actually thought that there was going to be some renovations done to the gym. But lo and behold, what happened was they were eventually informed that there was going to be this potential homeless shelter. And you know what? Guess what? They made the absolute right move by voicing their opinions, letting it be known, because if they were bamboozled into this idea of having sympathy and empathy for this community against their will, then they would become regretful. They're resentful, regretful that they didn't do anything, but resentful towards this community. And you don't want to do that. I mean, you don't want to impose resentment, right, from one community to another. But that's what it seems that this authoritative move would have done, right? And then you have the nerve of some of these people in office. Let me read to you what
Jennifer Rice Epstein
says. You wouldn't want to be sleeping out in the wind and rain in these temperatures, right? And then she says, that's what we were focused on here. Well, this is funny because why did Jennifer Epstein not propose that her own community host these people? She's willing to readily give you that argument or state that case for residents of a community far from her own. Hey, let's go ahead and test the hypocrisy on that and propose that your community, your neighborhood, host this homeless community.
Well, it's just like the people that say border walls and everything is racist and rude, right? But when you go to their houses or Google Maps their houses, and they have 20-foot walls and security guards and fences, and so it's not really the fact that they want this to happen.
Right.
They just want to be the person whose name is attached to something that's bettering this homelessness problem that we have.
But they don't want to take care of it
at whatever risk it takes. Right. So also the thing is too, you have to ask. Let's just say it in the dead of night, all this happened, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of homeless people in this park, and then something happens to one of the children. Something happens to a house. Something happens to a car. Who's responsible for that? If that park wasn't there as a gathering place, a safe haven for the homeless community, maybe that situation didn't happen. Maybe that car didn't get broken into. Maybe the house didn't get broken into. Maybe the child didn't get beat up or find a needle somewhere. Whatever the case may be, who's responsible for it? It's not the homeless person, and you can't go back to Jennifer Rice Epstein and say, "Hey, this happened. I need some sort of reimbursement or something that's going to tell me this is not going to happen again," because they really, frankly, don't give a shit. Because it's one and done with them. They make the decision, they make it happen, and then all of a sudden it's forgotten, and they don't care about any sort of lasting outcome or whatever problems that may lead up into the future. They don't give a shit because they do not. They've done what they could do or what they thought they should do at the moment, spur of the moment, instant gratification. And now we're assholes because we don't want it.
So again, Jennifer Rice Epstein, we challenge you. Go into your own backyard. Find an area in your backyard, sweep up some of this community and go ahead and take them where you're at.
I wonder where she lives.
Right? So, go ahead and practice what you're preaching with your own resources. Your own. Not city resources, not taxpayer resources, your own. And we would be happy to, support you in your decision, right?
Yeah.
And then, and then we would have more respect for what it is you're saying, right? Because outside of those actions, there's no real reason to put your whatever it is you're saying into consideration.
I think there's a lot to be said for people who, if she were to do that, I think you'd have a lot more people behind them.
Absolutely.
Knowing that, okay, they tried it in their own neighborhood and nothing happened. But it's kind of bad in Long Beach because, then you're going to have people who aren't already here coming here. Right? I mean, when I lived in Colorado, people, I'd see homeless people on the street towards the winter. And I asked one or two different guys, what are you doing when it starts to snow? And they always said, we head to California when that happens.
Right.
Like, you have a travel plan.
Sure.
And you have all these things, but you can't do anything to get yourself in a better situation.
What do they call those people? The snowbirds or the snow bunnies? That move south for the winter?
Yep.
That's basically what happens.
But it's also too, like, there's some people that don't go anywhere in Colorado, and they find, those grates that have the heat that come off the ground, like in New York. They fall asleep on them, but that's, they started changing those in Denver because some guy fell asleep on them and cooked himself to death. Because it's not like 80 degree steam.
No.
It's like 210 degree steam.
That is some. I heard a story. It was just a story. I can't even verify the story, but I'm gonna tell the story anyway. A story about a guy who got drunk out in Palm Springs. Out there with friends, got drunk in Palm Springs, fell asleep on the cement. Skin melts fuses onto the cement. Sad. Guy ends up in the ER, and I can't even verify the story, but shit, it makes sense. It is hot as shit out there. 115 degree weather. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. We're not trying to downplay homelessness. I mean, it's a stain on humanity right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what there is to do because there's no real consequence to being homeless anymore.
Yeah, and there's not really anyone you can cast blame on or ask to take responsibility, right?
Right.
You have, I mean, the from the beginning of society, from the beginning of the organization of civilization, there's always been the haves and the have-nots, right? And then so being a part of one of those groups, you're always going to look at the other and say, hey, there's decisions that you could have made across that line that that affect me,
Right.
or vice versa. And no one knows like what really to do.
Right.
What we've come to find out is that with hard work and effort, you can do a lot, right? You can make things happen, right? And the road isn't necessarily perfect, right? But you can never stop that effort. You can never stop that movement forward, no matter what. The world is going to throw at you the worst of tragedies and traumas. But the minute you decide to stop is the minute you begin to lose.
The world is a mean and nasty place.
It's a mean and nasty
Beats
place.
you down to your knees if you let it.
Sons of bitches. And what are you going to do? You can't give up. It's a fight. It's a journey, right?
It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep taking hits and moving forward.
Yo, Rocky. So that was my ode to local government. Our ode, right? Because we're doing this together.
Right.
That's our ode to local government, to taking, taking responsibility for that immediate world around you, instead of crying about what's going on across the country or in other nations or in other cities even. These guys down the street from us have been taking the bull by the horn, and they have gotten some what's the word? They've gotten some results. Kudos to you, Josh Canteo, awesome dude. Thank you for bringing this to our
Jerlene
attention.
Tatum.
Jerlene Tatum, man, kudos to you for making all this happen. Ooh, leading the charge.
Jennifer Rice Epstein.
Jennifer Rice Epstein. Again, show us what that talk is about. Do this in your backyard, okay? And
Invite one into your home for a meal. I dare you.
Dare you, right? Not. Oh yeah, I fed him at a park. What you're proposing here is having them right in someone else's front yard. Invite them in your front yard,
Right.
okay? And then invite a camera crew over to see. You make your case known to the Post, because you were able to, no, actually, who is she speaking to? Spokesperson, yep, of the Post. Invite
Palm
the
Beach
Post,
Department
and then
of Health and Human Services.
yeah, that's who she works for. But invite the Post over to garner some attention for what you've done, inviting this community into your front yard. And I'm sure people will be rallying to support whatever decision you're making after.
Yeah.
But until then, cut it out.
Yeah. Shut up. Cut it.
Anyway, man, this weekend I had the opportunity to play doorman again for my brother at the Irisher in Seal Beach. Great bar, awesome little dive spot. If you're out there in the Seal Beach area, give those guys a visit. It was Blake and Ethan, man, awesome little duo. Caitlin the other night, awesome. Yeah, bless them with your business. Go have a drink or two or three or four, because awesome little spot. But yeah, so was back in Seal Beach again for a weekend and saw some old faces. Still the same great spot. It's the same great street that I've grown to love. Steven's grown to be annoyed by. Yeah, but it was awesome, man. I appreciated being out there once again. Yeah.
I went to a escape room in Hollywood on Friday.
Escape room, like hockey.
Escape.
Oh, escape. I thought skate. Oh.
Skate.
Yeah, like hockey, like
No.
broom hockey.
No.
That's what I thought. Anyway,
Escape room.
how'd that go?
So you have an hour to get out. and we got out with 24 minutes to spare.
Oh shit! Oh shit! So your brilliance is what helped him.
I wouldn't say just mine. It was a group effort.
Oh, okay.
But I will tell you some of the clues that I found.
Let me tell you.
Probably be stuck in there still.
Let me hear it.
Well, some of them are so you're so worried about the time clock and like the difficult puzzles that the easiest things are literally staring at you right in the face.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like walking around because you walk into one room and it gives you like a rundown of the situation. We were in the room. It was like the daycare room or something, right? So a long time ago, blah blah blah. 7 girls or 6 girls, little girls at a daycare, go missing, and you have to find out what happened to them, right? Release their souls or whatever. Okay. So it starts off, you're in this room with very little light, right? There's like one tiny little blue flashlight pointing down, and that's not necessarily where you're supposed to start. So we see an abacus on the wall. We see a number, like a code that you're supposed to do the abacus.
Okay.
You do the abacus. Some panel falls, you get a piece, you get a puzzle, blah, blah, and so forth, right?
Okay.
So we get to this other part, and there's a closet in the room.
Okay.
So it's like a Narnia closet, right? But it's got letters on this side, letters on this side, right. And you got to figure out. I'm not gonna give it to you in case you go, but you got to figure out how to open that, and then once you pull this rope in there, the wall falls down. Like this little wall falls down. There's another room on the other side you got to get into. So you got to go back and forth to keep getting clues. But some of them, like you read this thing, right? You read this like note thing, and it says, "Oh, I need a teapot, and I need flame, and I need blah blah blah."
Okay.
And they tell you before you start, if you can't move something in that room with 3 fingers, you're not supposed to move it.
3 fingers.
Yeah. So if you go like this and you move this pen, then that's a movable object. If you go to move this and it doesn't move with the force of 3 fingers, that's not supposed to move.
Okay.
So a lot of people probably go like break it, and that's like, oh, that's not cool. No. So it's pretty cool. We got out 24 minutes. We're probably there's 11 rooms in this place.
Wait, you got out with 24 minutes to spare. So yes. You got out. It took you 36 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
See, don't. You were giving yourself way too much for 24 minutes. What the heck?
I said 24 minutes left.
Okay.
Initially.
I wanted to specify. I wanted to clarify that. That's what I wanted.
Oh, you're shortchanging me.
No.
Because you'd still be stuck in a room.
No. 10 minutes tops. Out to wrap.
Doubt it.
Dude, you see this brain?
I see a big head.
There is a lot of room for plenty of brain.
That
would get us out of there like.
If your brains were in your ears, then we're good.
Hey, who says they're not?
Maybe, but you're not getting out of.
I bet you there's like.
First of all, you can't see shit for the first 5 minutes you're in there.
Okay, but 15 minutes then.
I doubt it. We should go, and you can do that room.
Okay.
And we'll do another room.
Okay.
And then when you are stuck in there, I'll be like, hey, Evan,
how many different rooms are there?
11.
Oh, shit.
It's an old hotel or something. They turn all the different rooms into these escape rooms.
Shit.
It's pretty cool. It was pretty fun. And then
I am down. And how many people are allowed to do one escape room? I think
a total of 6.
Are allowed to do one
room, yeah.
Ooh.
And with you and me in that one room, 4.
4, 5.
If you and me in that room, we're taking up 80% of that room. You and me.
Wow.
It's a small room.
6 children is what they want. Children.
6 less than average size human beings.
Yeah. Okay. Because
not full-grown adults. And then we went to, before things started, we went to this little cantina thing.
Okay.
And Shelby got her wallet stolen, so she's waiting for her ID.
Oh, wow.
So we go to the door, and I'm like, hey, man, the bouncer's on. I was like, hey, so she got her wallet stolen, and she has a paper ID. And he's like, nah, she don't even look 21. I wanted to fight him right at that moment.
So you guys didn't get into that canteen?
No.
Fuck. Well, I mean, in all honesty, does she look old enough where you would have accepted that?
You've seen her.
No, I haven't.
I've shown you
a picture, but like in
yes,
up close and personal is very different.
How I would let her in if I didn't know her? I wouldn't let my mother in a bar without an ID.
Right. So
fuck him. I was with her. This is a different point. I'm being hypocritical. I don't give a shit.
Hypocrite.
Uh-huh.
Right. So we cannot be here telling our viewers about
Here's
hypocrisy when
Here's
you yourself
here's the deal. He said she didn't even look 21. And then he asked, you have a picture of your ID? And I wanted to say, you stupid motherfucker, who has a picture of their identification on their phone?
There are
we don't accept
tons.
It. Never accepted it.
I'm saying there are tons of people
Never accepted
with pictures
Never
of their
accepted
ID. And I'm just
it
saying.
was expired anyway.
I am just saying.
It was expired anyway.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
So anyway,
there are tons of people.
She has the paper. She has the thing. It's temporary. It says your license is in the mail. Fuck that bouncer at that place.
That would have been
And
you.
he can fuck
and that would have been someone else saying the same thing about
and he
you.
can fuck off.
Just saying.
He can fuck right off.
Just tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the risk of sounding hypocritical, you
He can fuck right off.
would have done the same.
And I was like, bro, it's Friday. It's pouring. It's on Hollywood Boulevard. There's 2 people in your bar. You don't want a 4-top coming in?
Okay.
You get a date.
All right.
He was mad because he was 6'9" and he couldn't dunk a basketball. I think that's why he was really mad.
I bet. And then he was 6'9" and you could probably whooped his ass.
And he was 100% good.
Right. Yeah. You know what? That's what happens.
No,
a lot of those big dudes. Anyway, you know what else I wanted to discuss? I have become an absolute fan, and I'm sure you guys have seen this show, but I think I'm late to the party. And you know, according to Steven here, I am late to the party. I have become a fan of The Ranch. Mm-hmm. It's a series that's on Netflix, right? And I've seen plenty of Netflix series, but what makes this ranch thing stand out? It's a sitcom in the style of old sitcoms.
Right.
Right? It kind of takes me back to the 80s and 90s when I sat there and enjoyed watching like families with like kind of traditional
it's like a new age
outlooks,
married with children.
Kind of traditional outlooks, like old school outlooks, but then, you know, there's some cursing allowed, which is fucking awesome, right? I was like, yo, this is that real shit. You know, that I don't know how real shit it would be, but it just Rooster, by the way, hilarious character, was canceled. You know, he was fired from the show. I'm sure all of you guys know. I'm not saying anything new, but he was fired from the show for his off-camera activities. You know, I guess he was involved with some alleged rapes or whatnot. But his character fucking made the show.
Well,
come on.
I
would say.
I think Sam Elliott's character made
Oh
the
yeah. He was kind of getting soft. Later on in the he's still getting a little softer and softer as you know as the episodes go on. But man, I would say Rooster is.
What is Sam Elliott's greatest role?
Role is what?
In
I don't
acting.
know. I don't know. There's a lot of roles. You know what I mean, of course, you know, any bouncer is gonna say his role in Roadhouse has to be top 5.
Wade Garrett.
Yeah. Top 5. I'd say top 5, right? But I mean, you know, he's got a shitload of.
I'd say it goes Roadhouse,
Mm-hmm.
Tombstone,
Okay.
The Mask with Cher.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. The Mask? Okay.
Maybe The Big Lebowski.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I take Steven's word for it. He knows cinema far better than I do. I just watch these things and like aimlessly, you know, become mesmerized at it.
You know, Married with Children is on Hulu.
You know, I was somewhat of a fan of Married with Children, but what was the mom's name? Peggy?
Mm-hmm.
Peggy Bundy was just too annoying for me. Too annoying. I just couldn't.
Yeah, but you watch that show for his insults. That's
Yeah,
the only
absolutely.
reason you watch that.
Absolutely. But yeah, Peg was just. Anyway, wouldn't have wanted to marry someone like that. But anyway, the role of Rooster, the character of Rooster, is probably my favorite of any character
On TV?
in recent years. In recent years, watching the guy's witty, he's quick, fucking raw, brash. They made him look like a straight bitch though at the end. With I felt like Nick punked him. I didn't think it matched his character. Right? I thought he and Nick should have gotten into a fight. Nick should have killed him. and then like buried him. If you know, if like secretly or try to, you know, I mean, that's the best. I mean, that would have been a badass way to write this character off, right? But the way they had him just run off, you know, out of that scene with the duffel bag, I was like, come on, little fucking badass Rooster is just gonna run out of his own cabin like that.
Oh, he was a rapist. They gave him a bitch send off because he's a rapist.
Yeah, well,
They're not gonna give him a case.
Alleged.
No, it's been proven.
Oh, it's been proven. Wait, he's been found guilty?
Uh-huh.
No shit. Well, fuck that guy. I mean, not Rooster, but fuck that, you know,
No.
Danny Masterson.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's fucked up.
What are you gonna do, right?
What are you gonna do, man? Shit. Well, it goes to show you can't really, you can't really tie the person off screen from the character on screen. You can't really like.
Well, I watched a lot of these, interrogation videos,
Okay.
crime videos.
Have you seen the video of him being interrogated?
No, not yet. I don't think it's not out there.
I
But,
don't know. I haven't seen it.
But the one, remember the dad that was on Seventh Heaven?
Yeah.
I watched his the other day, and that guy is a straight up fucking piece of shit.
Is he really like?
100%.
Is he a pedo?
Well,
or a rapist?
So what he did was expose himself to 5 or 6 different girls under the age of 14.
Holy shit! Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and but then when you watch his interview, because he did an interview on 2020 with Katie Couric, and what is the first thing that he does? He reaches back to a memory when an older woman that was never named, never confirmed, parents are dead, nobody can say yes or no, that she would frequently expose herself to him, and he thought that was normal behavior. But when you watch his interview, certain things he says, it's just like he knew he was doing wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And that goes back to people using crutches all the time.
Yeah.
It
gonna
delegitimizes the people who actually go through it.
Oh my goodness.
But this guy was
I don't know
apparently
if
his parents had a lot of money when he first started, and they were like funding him being these. Then he got Seventh Heaven, and then he was like 11 seasons playing a reverend, and in that whole time,
he's had that in the fucking background.
Yeah. So again,
Holy
maybe the person
shit.
who's acting as a pastor and a religious individual is the one that's a fucking piece of shit.
Fuck that. Listen, I don't claim to be any saint whatsoever, but there's certain lines that have to be drawn, right? Like raping, taking advantage of vulnerable individuals is just something that I have an absolute problem with.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean,
Well,
I even have a problem with fighting with people that are smaller than me. I have an absolute problem with that. I would much rather, I'd feel more comfortable getting into a fist fight with somebody like that's bigger than me. That way, when I win, there's not going to be any, right? There's not going to be any like, oh, that guy was smaller than you. You took advantage of.
Right.
Wow. That's one thing that as a child growing up, I've always I hated bullies. I hated people, predators is what you would call them.
Right.
People who would take advantage of.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I never did that as a child. I mean, there was probably some incidences where, but I think I probably learned from those situations, right? Where I saw I saw the flaw in my behavior, and I thought, man, this is stupid. Right?
Well, it's funny watching those. It's not funny, but it's different to me watching those videos where these people are being interrogated, and they don't know the police have certain evidence, right? So these cops are obviously trained to ask questions, leading questions, right, to get them down a certain path. There's another one I watched where this lady was drinking with her boyfriend, and they were playing hide and seek as adults.
Okay.
And dude got in a suitcase, and she zipped it up, and she recorded him, and he's like, I can't breathe, get me out, I can't breathe. She's like, that's how it feels when you choke me. And she was wasted. The bitch got up from the couch, forgot she made that video, went upstairs, went to sleep, came downstairs and the dude was dead in the suitcase.
Fuck.
So then she's like, oh, we're playing hide and seek, and he got himself in the suitcase and blah blah blah. And
Got himself in the suitcase.
So he may have laid in it, but he damn sure didn't zip it up.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So then there was this whole thing, and then there's a different video where it's the court hearings, and she essentially put him in the suitcase at the top of the stairs and then kicked him down the stairs because he was all beat up in the suitcase and they couldn't figure out why.
What the fuck?
But then she's like, I didn't put him in the suitcase, and they're like, well, what's this video? Oh, well, he got in the suitcase. Well, how did the suitcase get zipped? Why zipped up? Because I thought it'd be funny. Well, how come in this video you're laughing and telling me that's how it feels like when you get choked? I didn't leave him in there. I went to sleep. And they're like, yeah, you went to sleep after you recorded him, after he was saying he came, and after.
Tell me this woman got life.
It's in Florida. No, she was 16 years.
Oh my God! So what did she get charged for? Manslaughter or second degree murder?
No, it was involuntary.
No.
Yeah, because there was the real reason was nobody could prove that he did not get himself in the suitcase.
Wow.
So moral of the story is, kids, don't get in suitcases.
Don't put yourself into small
with crazy bitches.
Find anything.
Yeah, and have your phone on you at all times.
That's horrible.
How do you make that call? Right, what was your emergency?
I'm in a
suitcase.
Where exactly are you?
My crazy bitch girlfriend is asleep, I think, and I'm slowly losing oxygen.
Yeah, I can't breathe.
Yeah, I can't breathe.
I'm not breathing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
So those are interesting to watch. I mean, those. I listen to them frequently, and it's just some of the shit you hear. You're just like, I didn't hear that right. That's what. And you gotta rewind.
Well, okay, so we always talk about there's always decisions to be made on both parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're interacting, right, there's a decision to be made. First off, you've got to be absolutely aware of who you're dealing with, no matter what interaction you're participating in.
Yep.
Be aware. Oftentimes, we wander into these situations unknowingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, let's say something terrible happens from the interaction. That whole interaction could have been avoided a lot of the times early on.
Right.
I saw this video of, and I'm sure people.
Red flags exist, bro.
Yeah, but I'm sure people on the internet have seen that same video where the girl is at a gym at her apartment building or something, and then she opens the door for a guy to come in because I guess she assumes he's gonna come in and work out, but he's out there in like sliders. And she's at and I'm assuming it was an apartment or some type of a gated community gym. The guy ends up attacking her, and then she fights him off. Thank God. But I mean, you as a woman inside of a confined space,
right,
allowing yourself to be placed in a vulnerable position by letting some strange person that you don't even know, dude, right? And you didn't even require anything of him, like, hey, do you have your ID? Do you have your
live here?
Do you live here? Nothing. No question was asked. She was in her zone, and I get it, right? People get into these modes, right? And they're in a zone in some type of a mindlessness where they're just moving thought free, and then she just opens the door no questions asked, innocently. First off, every situation, anyone out there, whether you feel like you're a predator or whether you feel like you're potential prey, you got to be aware, dude. You got to be absolutely aware of what you're doing, where you're at, who you're dealing with. Why do I say that? Because I too mindlessly do shit. I do things that, so I'm saying this in part for myself, but I'm saying this in part for those of you out there because we're discussing some shit where these.
It's why I never put my back to the door,
right?
Or the large part of the crowd.
Yeah.
Ever. And people think I'm weird.
Yeah.
And you're paranoid. Maybe. But I promise you, I will always be ready.
You know what's funny is a lot of the times, and this is again mindlessness, right? We get it. We do these things so often, we get so comfortable, and we mindlessly do things. One thing I used to do at O'Malley's to invite, I really used to invite potential problems, right? Because it got so boring, like. You know, like when I say boring, it got so I don't use the word boring. It got monotonous, where we never dealt with anything for years at a time, right? So I used to put my back to the door. I used to stand on the inside and sometimes put my back to the door. I used to stand outside and put my back to the door, right? Just inviting situations, and I'm like, all right, if someone creeps up on me, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do. But I used to invite it, like. You know, because I thought, look, man, there's nothing going on. Mm-hmm. I haven't dealt with a fight in months. So when I first got there to O'Malley's, right, and we had someone working there who had a temper initially, right, but he was in charge, and then so he would strut his thing out there with this bravado, inviting. Feuds with the locals, openly challenging them to fights, openly bullying them, and then when I worked there, and then I brought family members to work with me, he would utilize us as his somewhat goons, right? And we'd always been goons. We grew up goons, so we just kind of naturally fell into that role, but. This guy we would see strutting his thing and causing these situations. Invited probably there'd be a one fight every other week, a fight every maybe once or twice a month, right? But the longer we got there, the guy eventually got fired. We were asked to stay, so the fights became less and less. So it went from twice a month to once every other month to once every 6 months to once every year to once, and then we didn't see shit happen for like years at a time. So it got so monotonous, right? Where there was no fights, there was nothing really to do. All the excitement was behind us. So inviting drunks into the bar, or excusing drunk people's behaviors and inviting them back the very next night, that became like a norm.
Unacceptable in my eyes.
But it became a norm because, again, there was nothing. Come on, you've got to admit, man, there was nothing going on.
It was boring as fuck.
We didn't stop anything from happening after a while because, we did such a good job and whatnot. But I don't know, stupidity. Mm-hmm. Like that's an example of, doing things without purpose anymore, right? You're just going through the motions. Stop doing that in life, right? As soon as you find yourself doing things. You're just going through the motion in things, man. That's your time to exit. And then, so I probably spent 10 too many years in front of that door. After
Same.
after stopping that the initial activity that was going on in front of O'Malley's. But yeah, it was a good time, awesome time. But again, anytime you find yourself going through the motions in a job, not having that purpose, not moving in purpose, then you have to back away and question what your next move is going to be. ASAP.
That happened recently at work. There was a kid that were there. I won't say his name because whatever. But he'd come to me every day like, hey man, like my heart's not in this. Like I'm not. And he's 25, right? And initially I was like, well,
is that your buddy?
Huh?
Is that your buddy?
I guess. I mean, work buddy, I guess.
No. I mean, the buddy that I'm thinking of?
No.
Oh, no? Okay.
So, he would come every day and have like an issue, right? Like, and it's like issues that I can't even begin to process. So my answer was like, what the fuck do I need to do about it? Right? And then he came to me last week. He said, hey man, like my heart's not in it. Like I'm like, well, what you need to do is get your stuff, go in there and tell me to quit.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to figure it out here.
Yeah.
You need to figure out what you want to do, and that's exactly what he did. Grabbed his lunch bag, walked in, and said, "Hey, I quit."
Hey, kudos to you for giving him that advice, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we always say here on the podcast here as Dorman, we want to offer solutions, right? I refuse to just present a problem, right? Because there's not problems. There's no problem in this world is without a solution. Every problem has a solution. It may take massive amounts of effort to move toward this solution, but there's a solution to every problem.
Many masks and many vaccines.
Well, those were potential solutions initially, but you know, at some point we discovered that they didn't work, right? At some point,
we all knew.
We saw the stupidity at some point,
The
and
real
then at that
one.
point, right? You know, as we were just saying about, you know, moving in purpose. At that point, when you discover this stuff doesn't work, this is, you know, stupidity.
Oh,
now
yeah,
then you stop.
The real ones knew.
Right. Then you
Put a
stop, and
diaper
then
on
you
your
move.
face, ain't gonna help.
Then you stop and move on, right?
Right.
I mean, that's always the.
I never bought a package of masks the whole time.
Look, we bought a package of masks initially, and again, you know, I always, you know, I always want to participate. We always want to participate in the collective movement when we see the sense in it, right? So prior to us, you know, realizing the nonsensical nature in things, we bought the masks. We wanted to participate, and then we realized, man, you can really smell shit through this fucking mask. You can smell what's going on in the other, and if you can smell something on the other side of this mask, then of course you're going to be able to breathe that in, if you know, whatever. You know, the other thing that we realized was, hey, once we've had it, we recovered. You had it and you recovered. So those of us who were healthy enough to withstand the process of it, we're good. You know, no mask needed anymore, right? You know, but for those who, you know, who felt like they were still in danger, hey, go ahead and wear your mask. You're fine, right? So again, we came to a lot of these. Anyway, we don't want to revisit all that stupidity, but you know, it's about moving in purpose.
Right.
Do things that you purposefully believe in.
Right.
That's
Well,
what
that's what I told that kid. It was just like, I mean, selfishly, I was started having the same conversation with the kid that I've had for the whole time he's been there, essentially. But you know, it put our day to day in a bind till we had somebody to fill in that spot. But I couldn't take it anymore. Like, you know me very well, and I have zero time for stupidity, right?
No.
Zero. And when it would be like, hey man, like, he'd come to me like certain situations, like, hey, this is happening. I'm like, well, why don't you go do this? Well, I can't. Well, then fuck off. Like, you can't do anything other than this. If you can't do this, then you gotta just let it happen, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. But that day I was just like, because you were supposed to help me that day. And I could tell he was just at the computer like this.
Not into it.
And I was just like, hey bro, like what's the use? It's not in my heart. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh shit.
I was like, okay, well then you need to quit. Because you're never gonna leave. You're never gonna figure it out here.
Guys, I don't think people realize the need to move in purpose. Move with purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because I think I'm better than anyone else. Look, I've come to discover this shit late in life, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The importance of moving in purpose.
I mean, there's a point in your life when you're like, you don't want to disappoint or let people down, but there's also comes a point in your life where you just shouldn't give a fuck if it doesn't.
Well, you know, another thing is like a comfort and convenience of
oh yeah,
you know, staying in these monotonous day-to-day, you know, motions is what
jobs, friendships, relationships, whatever it is, it might be. If it's not, you know, benefiting you in a as a collective and individually, then
if individually you're not passionate about it, right? Like if like it is absolutely important to be passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, you're wasting your day, you're wasting your life, right? And you know when they, you know, after 22 years spending with LA Unified, right? And I want to say that I had seen the writing on the wall. I had seen the writing on the wall as far as like where we were going with education and how it was playing itself out. So when the opportunity presented itself, you know, as a catalyst for me to want to leave that joint, I was like, yo, I see it, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right? Because the passion wasn't there
Right.
for me. You know, it totally became, you know, just a motion thing. Right? Like at one point I thought, man, I really have something to share with these kids. And then and then I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, you know, time changes everything, right? I mean, time stops for no man.
Yeah.
So why would you...
How many cliches are you going to go through?
I'm going to try to go for one more.
Okay.
Why would you waste your time doing something that...
What about time is on your side?
It's not on your side. Time is 100% not on your side.
Yes, it is.
2 things guaranteed in life. Death and taxes.
Oh. Boom. She's going to be here all night, guys.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, yeah, I think the moral of any story, right? I mean, even from the initial story that we were talking about with this situation down the street here in Long Beach, purpose, right? You move with true purpose. You're gonna, you know, in the case of this resident who led other residents, you know, in this fight, man, oh, what a purpose that was for her, right? Because it's her livelihood, it's her day-to-day functionality that's going to be disrupted here, right? And then so she leads the charge. My buddy, he follows suit. It's gonna, as a matter of fact, he lives right across the street from the gym, so he was absolutely about to be affected.
Yeah, nobody wants to go out of their house and get in their car, get ready for work, and then look across the street
and find needles and
somebody taking a shit on the sidewalk.
Absolutely, and it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, we live in this same kind of community. They're like a 3/4 mile away from us. But there's a homeless encampment right when we come out of our cul-de-sac. Come out of our cul-de-sac into making a right on Wardlow. There is a flood control way there. And then so the homeless set up inside of that flood control. Mm-hmm. And that flood control, you have access in and out of that flood control at the off-ramp of the 405 710. Now, they bring their trash. They clear their trash out onto the street, and it's not just one bag. It's bags and bags and bags of just trash that they clear out from that thing. And there's not, it's not a stop where, trash trucks readily go in and access that trash. This is just trash at the end of a flood control out in the open. Right. So it's somewhat of an inconvenience, right? And I know people can make the argument for like, oh my God, it's an inconvenience of their lives. But again, the homeless individuals I know have chosen that lifestyle, whether due to drugs, the drug addiction, whether due to the freedom of being out there, whatever it is, the individuals I know are out there, by choice. So, that's all I can, reference. But it's an eyesore, especially for those of us who have made the decision to become tax-paying citizens. Yeah. And I don't know that we're right in doing the tax-paying, being tax-paying citizens. I don't know that, I'm not saying that we've done the ultimate right, but this is a decision that we have made to participate in this societal norm, mm-hmm. to participate in this civilization, mm-hmm. right? We become homeowners, we pay our taxes, and then we hope that, the city officials take those taxes from our properties, from our purchases, from our income, and do the right thing with it, right?
Right.
These people in and around Silverado Park have done the same thing. Yeah. So again, it's about choices. It's about the efforts. It's about our intentions. It's about our purpose. That's what this is about. It's what we do, right? So if we choose to do things that we're hoping, the right results come of it. And I don't know if that rant has any resonance out there, and I'm just hoping it does, but that's what we're here to do here on
So we do.
the Norman Podcast.
Hey, so when are we gonna reschedule our golf game so I can beat you?
Are you ready?
I've been ready.
Oh, you've been ready. You've been ready. I mean,
the question should be, are you ready? Because I don't think you swung a golf club since the last time you swung a golf club.
I don't think I have swung a golf club in that long. Well, let's shoot for June-ish.
Okay, I hope I don't break my other collarbone. We'll be all right.
No, you know what? Let's shoot it for you around your birthday. How's that?
Okay.
Around your birthday, July-ish.
Okay.
Huh?
Works for me.
Sounds good.
Yep. You can always use some extra birthday money.
Which is why I suggested that. Either that, or I can laugh at you right before your birthday when you're paying me.
Could be, but I mean, in all actuality, if we step out of fantasy land,
we shall see.
we're playing golf. We're not doing an eating contest. Much like I have no chance in hell beating you in that, you have no chance in hell beating me in that.
How about you participate in a sport that I would be good at?
What?
Wrestling.
You're fucking 100 pounds more than me.
I mean, come on.
That's not fair.
You swung golf clubs a lot more than I have.
Okay, let's play basketball then.
Oh, okay. I'm down to do some basketball.
And the Charles Barkley rule applies.
What's the Charles Barkley rule?
You can't just bully your way down low. That's not how it works.
Why not?
The Charles Barkley rule is in effect.
What? The post game is all a part of basketball.
That's the whole reason you can't do that anymore. You can't pass your ball to the biggest guy and have him back down the whole time.
Why not?
That's the rule in the NBA.
If he's not, that is horrible.
That's the rule in the NBA.
What on earth?
3 in the key, all that shit.
Well, 3 in the key, I get it, but you can't post.
It's the Charles Barkley rule. You can't bully your way down low. You can't keep dribbling all the way to the hoop.
Well, I mean, what if I don't? What if there's movement from side to side?
I guess that's fine.
While I'm posting you.
I mean, it's going to be winner take out, so you're going to need to score. So, it might just be...
All right, I'm down.
So we're changing it from golf to basketball.
No. I'm not saying that. We're doing both.
Oh, both. Okay.
Let's go both.
All
I mean,
right.
let's
Because I'm not good at basketball.
I'm not really good at basketball either.
Not really good at golf either.
Well, I like the idea of putting a ball in a hoop. So
It's a smaller ball and a smaller hoop.
yeah,
That's what golf
why
is.
not? Why not?
All right.
Hey, next we'll go foosball. How's that?
All right. You
Even
probably beat me in that.
yeah,
I have
for
no patience for that shit.
Smacking you with some foosball.
All right. How about ping pong?
I can do ping pong.
How about we go to batting cage?
And
Who has the
what
most?
would the goal be in the batting
Who
cage?
has the most distance? You're gonna swing and miss. I
I'm
can see
pretty
it.
good at a batting cage.
I can see it.
I'm pretty good at a batting cage. Let's do it.
We'll take no way too.
Oh, dude, fuck that guy.
And then we'll be like, you sorry, man.
Hey, speaking of the way, he had wanted to hang out like a while ago, but anyway. Are you guys still in softball?
We're supposed to have our first game Thursday, but it rained.
Hey, shout out to the way.
And,
Shout out all of our original audience members. The way, Westby, Lou, all of you, man. Hey, even my niece, Nora.
My mom.
According to Nora,
She seems like she's probably one of your most
gems.
intelligent people I've ever heard.
We had an intelligent discussion a few days ago. Pretty intelligent.
I'm gonna continue to spit gems and keep the
You will continue to spit gems.
keep the crowd happy. That's what I do.
That's what we do. We are here at the Dormant, and we are looking to stimulate thought, stimulate conversation. Are we saying and thinking the correct things? Who knows? But that's not the point,
No.
right? As a brilliant mind, Jordan Peterson kind of alludes to in so many words. He says, stumble around in the dark for a while until it, whatever it is, becomes, what's the word? More perfect, maybe improved, right? Start from within and then move, right? He's always talking about beginning with cleaning up your room.
He also states that
Clean your damn room up.
You have to, in order to have good conversation, you have to risk being offensive.
We have to risk being offensive. And you have to risk stumbling around with stupid ideas.
And we take that risk.
We're ready for it. That's what we do.
Episodically on the Dorman, we take that risk.
Every episode, we're willing to be offensive, sound stupid, be incorrect, be fact checked. We don't give a damn, right?
Nope.
Just have that conversation. Talk.
Yeah. Stop being a bitch.
Hey, with that,